I don't know, I do love their logo, and I do love some of the design work they do, but I think the ad could have, I don't know, they have millions and millions of dollars. They need some of you to work there too. So why should you care? Really, this is going to be a fundamental shift in your reality. It's the largest since mobile phones or the internet. It really is going to change the way that you interact with the world. And so I have a few just sort of examples to show, because usually, I mean, I'm sort of biased by the entertainment examples, but it really affects B2B, B2C, and so many different categories. Here are just a few.
Hey, IKEA would like everyone to know about Place, our new augmented reality app. Built on Apple's new AR kit, you can easily place true-to-scale 3D models of IKEA furniture in your place. Scan, browse, select, move, and place. So that could mean less of this. And less of this. And probably more of this. We want to make it easier for people everywhere to imagine a better place. Share this place and this place. Try Place in your place.
So in a lot of cases, you might go, oh, I can use my phone and figure out whether that chair is going to fit in the space. And it actually is, I think, at about a year ago, was 98% accuracy. It's probably even higher than that now. So you might not go, oh, I'm using augmented reality. You might just say, oh, I'm using this. It's going to help me do what I want to do. Amazon is now starting to do it as well, that if you, with certain products, and it'll probably eventually be, you know, millions of products, if you are about to buy something, that they'll say, put it in your room. What does it look like in your room? And then it will do it and measure according to your room. And that really allows people to understand if they want to buy something, because they can see what it looks like. I don't know if this has a video or not. There it goes. So I don't think there's a voiceover for this. This is just video.
Selected.
I'll just talk over this one a little bit. So a lot of car showrooms are starting to use VR and AR to allow you to customize what you want to buy. So some of it, you can use it in your own apartment. Others are sort of bigger experiences that bring you to the retail environment so that you actually try the car for yourself. But if you want to know what is it going to look like with this interior or that interior, what's it going to feel like, these kinds of experiences help you a little bit more than if you're going to look at it just on a website. This is one of my sort of favorite things. It's a little bit more of a proof of concept, but there's a lot of investment in right now, specifically with automotive and transportation. So imagine if you're driving and there's going to be some sort of thing, instead of just trying to look at your phone, am I going in the right direction? That it could actually be on your windshield, so that you know that you are in fact going the right way. So there is a lot of opportunity in education for teaching. So there's some companies, I'm forgetting which company, I think it might have been Google, but there's also quite a few smaller companies that if you study a particular location, it can bring you to that actual location. So if you're studying the pyramids, then you can start, oh, well, how big are the pyramids? And it becomes this sort of immersive educational experience, a lot of things overlaying on books so that you could sort of tap it and watch a video. It just, the creativity is quite astounding. This is a little bit more on the immersive learning. There's a lot in the medical field now in terms of allowing doctors to be able to see in sort of real dimensions what's going on with patients, whether it be for training to learn. You know, you can sort of look at the heart and then pull into the heart and see what's happening, or you could simulate sort of what a surgery would be. And with that, with some haptic feedback, could be really quite astounding. For architecture, there's a lot of people using VR in particular to be able to understand what something looks like when you walk through it. And engineering, also, I love this headset. It just, again, I guess Star Wars is the theme, but this is a real headset that people can actually buy. And so it helps with training. So if you're trying to teach somebody, oh, well, there's this thing and you're supposed to do, thing is very specific. If there's this sort of pipe and you need to turn this or you need to do that, then you can create a system to train people to do it. So I said to somebody, if, soon you're going to say, oh, my refrigerator's broken, and your refrigerator repairman guy is going to put on his headset and know how to fix it. So a lot of things are going to start changing. One thing that I think sort of overlaps to a degree in my mind is sort of projection mapping. And right now it's sort of augmenting reality as opposed to true augmented reality, but there are companies now that even with that are working on, like, if you want to try something on in Zappos, it's not there yet, but you're like, oh, how does it look on my foot? That it will you'll start being able to do that. And Nike, I think, will probably be the first one to really create that, because now they are saying, what do you want your shoe to look like in store? And you tap some things and then you see what it will look like and then you can order it. So this is one of my favorite ads to just sort of give you a sense of what the future will be overall. So the cutting of that cord, up until recently, most of these VR experiences had a huge cord that I would always feel like I was going to trip on. Now that's becoming less and less prevalent. Even something like the Void or certain VR, high-end VR experiences usually will have a backpack that you have to carry, and that also is starting to change as well. So things are starting to get smaller and lighter and easier to use. So what can you do? Really, I want you to understand the opportunity here and help create more demand and loyalty. Again, trying to look beyond just what is the hardware delivering, what are the programs that are offering, but instead, how can you market and communicate these technologies to consumers? Because it really isn't picking up as fast as I think that it should. And so for me, I go out there and try to get people who are creative to try to get more involved. There are almost 4,000 companies that are in this space, which it's quite a, it's pretty crazy what an ecosystem there is already. And it really, when I've worked with companies in the space, they don't understand the importance of differentiation. They think the technology speaks for itself. So I'm asking you to lead the way, take a risk, be smart. This, by the way, is in so many different posts within the industry, it drives me nutty. This is not possible, not safe, yet everybody thinks that it's, oh, look at that, we should put it in, it's immersive. And I'm like, this makes no sense. And so there are a lot more of this. There was even one that I saw with somebody wearing a headset going to the toilet. And I'm like, you really need this in stock imagery? You don't need that. So that's why I say be smart, because not everybody necessarily has. Be creative and focus on the consumer and just try something new. So this is an award-winning ad for VR. Let me see, let's go.
It's lonely out in space. And I
Doesn't look like this sound.
rocket man, rocket man.
Oh, I wish the sound was working on this. So basically he does fly, and it is this sort of Rocket Man sound. I don't know why the sound didn't work, but do what you can. So I sort of like the sentiment of that. I wish it worked, but oh well, not everything's gonna work. And good luck. I mean, I asked the teams that are presenting tomorrow to help out with Virtual Reality Day, which is coming up next month. They have no budget, but the idea is to get as many people into headsets, because really VR needs to be seen to be believed. So today I reached out, the community within virtual reality and augmented reality is very close, very supportive. We're all trying to make this work. So I have somebody who volunteered to come here today. She brought her Gear VR, so that's sort of a 3 degrees of freedom with a handset. And there's going to be somebody coming here tomorrow as well, just to give you a flavor for it. Luckily, a lot of you have tried it, so you understand. But thank you all for having me, and I really enjoyed being here.
Is there any sort of like global platform coming? Like we have Windows 10, Mac OS. Like I feel like that's what's missing to like sort of like solidify this.
Yeah, there are a lot of, there isn't sort of one singular platform. There's actually, I'm working with a company that's trying to do that. A lot of the technology is built in Unity, but there's still other companies outside of it. There's a few different companies that are trying to be sort of the portal to allow you to experience it. Little Star is one that you can do a lot of 360 video. They're trying to do VR as well, and the other ones are escaping me right now. But yeah, it's definitely just a few different companies that are trying to work on it, and there hasn't been sort of that universal development platform yet.
So I have a question with like a little bit of pretext, I guess. I read a study last year, and it pretty much said like, as people distance themselves more and more from their realities, they're going to be at a higher risk of depression, anxiety, things like that. So like thinking to like social media, how like no one really like foresaw like mental health impacts or like societal impacts, like what large scale problems could arise from VR, and how can we proactively combat them?
Oh, that's definitely something that people within the industry talk about a lot, because you're sort of building this world and what will it turn into. And I think all of the entertainment examples out there sort of show us all the bad, or even some of the bad. I'm part of an association, the VRARA, which tries to address some of the sort of potential negative implications. I mean, really, it has the potential for a certain kind of mind control, right? That's the sort of the worst case scenario. And so there needs to be some guardrails put up. The industry is made up of, I would say, easily 90% men, and most of them white men. And so in that sense, there's a lot of bias that goes into what's being created. So the women within VR and AR actually are very, very actively trying to make sure that that doesn't happen. And there's a lot of funding trying to influence the sort of creativity out there, that it doesn't just reflect one point of view. Yeah, I mean, I think it's addressable. We're not there. We don't sort of say like everybody must follow these exact guidelines, but I think that it will happen, and it should.
Hi. You mentioned, I guess, the technology behind Google Cardboard and how that kind of brought things to the masses, especially some 360 video stuff. I know the New York Times even sent out Google Cardboard to people, to their subscribers, so they could experience the videos they were making. But one common complaint with that, and I guess that year was the same year that Mattel kind of reimagined their Viewmaster as a VR viewer as well. So this kind of low-end primitive VR stuff, or like 3DOF stuff, is like, the complaint was that it was pretty nauseating for people. So does it have to be really expensive for people to experience that without that nausea? Or has it just gotten better?
It's gotten better. There's a couple of different reasons why people get nauseous. I wish I have a developer friend that could like articulate exactly what they are. One of them is that you think that you're far away in your mind, but your eyes are really close up. The other is, I think it's illusion of self-motion, so almost like if you get car sick. One of the reasons why I think a lot of people got sick in the first place is people immediately try to do a roller coaster. And roller coasters suck in 360 and in VR. They will make you sick, like unless you have perfect tracking and perfect everything, like they're gonna make you nauseous. I get nauseous sometimes if I go, for me it's like if I'm here in the space and then they sort of jump me to here. And I'm like, whoa, what just happened? I think that the technology has definitely improved vastly even in the past year or 2 years. But I think you also have to be smart as a creator, because that was an award-winning experience that I won't name, that just jumped and jumped and jumped and jumped. And I'm like, what are you doing? But on the flip side, they had you ride in a train, which anybody who's tried this will know exactly what I'm talking about. But, and in the train, you're moving forward, but you're not nauseous, you're very calm, you feel like you're part of the train's moving. So I think we're gonna get there. It's the same sense of all these ads are, this one guy with this up the nose shot is in so many ads, it drives me nuts. I didn't show you all the negative ones that are sort of like, really, that's what you were thinking for a creative? But it's almost that same way of like, it's so much more than roller coasters. And you also have to think when you create some of it, where your head is. So I'm 5'3", and some of the initial 360 videos were made for somebody that's more like 5'8", 5'9". So I feel like I'm floating. I'm like, whoa, I have no feet and I'm floating. And so it's sort of maturing, right? You're trying to figure out, just like when websites started and you're like, what, this makes no sense from a user experience. It's like we're trying to figure out as an industry what makes sense and what doesn't, and making people realize, do not try roller coasters. That's not a good ad messaging, but that's pretty much what I would say. Don't try something where you're gonna move up and down and around.
You were talking about the Facebook group that you created for VR and AR. My question is mostly, are the bigger companies pretty much have the complete control of the development of AR, VR, and just the creative process behind it? Or is there any other platform that we could reach out to entrepreneurs or startup companies or freelance developers that are working on the AR, VR to collaborate as a creative?
Yeah, so the reason why I started this, which I guess I sort of jumped right in, I had done 20 years in television and was sort of getting, seeing Amazon and Netflix and everything. I was like, which I love, I would watch TV all day, but I sort of saw the industry consolidating and changing, and I said I'd rather read in the trade magazines about something growing as opposed to something, who's getting laid off, which networks are going away. And so I tried to network, right? And I'm sure that that's what you guys are told to do too, is like meet as many people so that, they know you when they're looking. So I tried to network. I was like, who's in VR and marketing? Who's in VR? Couldn't find anyone. And I was like, this is so weird. I could find a couple people in PR, maybe like, nobody was doing brand marketing and strategy, which is sort of what I tend to focus on. And so I posted, there's a big social media thing. If you're interested in doing it, like definitely, I know Facebook is annoying right now, but from a business standpoint, it really is very, very helpful. And so I posted in this group, Women in VR, that has over 10,000 members, and says, anybody in marketing? I just want to talk and I want to network. And a lot of people wrote back. I think it was like 40 or 50 people wrote back. And so I started talking to them. I started talking to anybody I knew. And then one person said, you should just start a Facebook group. And so that was I don't even know, a little over a year ago, and it's already 1,700 people in it. And so I'm sort of an advocate within the industry to say, please hire more creative people. Please hire more people in marketing. And so there are companies, like there is the Oculus and there is the HTC and there are the big guys, but there is such a grassroots community of developers and creators. You can go to meetups, you can go to the virtual reality day, you can go on social media. Twitter and Facebook are sort of the biggest ones within it, but they're always looking for people. They're always looking for free labor that hopefully will lead into less free labor. But that's part of the reason why I really like the assignment. I was sort of, breaking my arm, patting myself on the back, because I was like, the virtual reality day is going to be in 50 cities around the world, and there's no budget. It's global, and all these people are just setting up sort of VR experiences for people to try it. And most of those people that are doing it are, I would give it like, I would venture to say 99% of the people that are doing it are developers and creators, because they're just like, everybody needs to try this. We love it. It's sort of, we've all drunk the Kool-Aid and want more people to try it so they get more involved in it.